Good afternoon. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Welcome to the Tuesday afternoon, just gonna say it, podcast. I hope everybody is having a great afternoon. Hope you're having a good week so far. I know I am around here working on guitar stuff. I'll tell you some more about that in just a few minutes. Saw a story this morning about Fender, and it's an interesting one, talking about the downturn in the guitaronomics. So we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you like guitar stuff, because that's what we do. We do not have any sponsors. We do not have any ball sack shavers or man soap or anything like that to sponsor our channel. No security cameras, none of that kind of stuff. So do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and the like button. That helps, as well as the Dylan Talks Tone website where you can go and buy pickups. There's also links below. I know people make fun of my shorts, so thanks to 511 Tactical for an affiliate link. You can buy other things than shorts at 511 Tactical, but I wear their shorts because I have nice legs and I cannot control. For those of you that, don't like shorts or skipped leg day, they have pants too. So there's those, as well as Sweetwater, cables, stuff like that. A bunch of affiliate links below. That's how you support the channel, since, like I said, we don't have any sponsors. So thank you so much for all of that. All right. So, hi, how y'all doing here? Got a bunch of people in the comments right now already. So that's cool. Yeah. This is an interesting, oh yeah, hit the thumbs up button there too, if you would. This is an interesting subject. If you have questions about guitar stuff, do me a favor and put it in the chat right over here. I think it's over here. Yeah. Put it in the chat over here. Put a bunch of question marks in front of it. I'll try to get to it. If you use a super chat, I will answer it immediately. I'll drop what I'm doing and answer it immediately. So, okay. This story came out. I think this was on Guitar World. Guitars were no longer the priority. Fender had $100 million worth of retail sales canceled in 2022. Apparently that's roughly 600,000 guitars and 200,000 amps. And so obviously during COVID, guitar sales, anything hobby related, went way through the roof. We were really busy too. Fortunately, we didn't have a bunch of returns and we're fine, and you can order pickups from us. But apparently they said they had $100 million worth of canceled orders. Now, this sounds scarier than it is. I want everybody to know Fender's just fine, and the guitar industry is just fine. This is from Guitar Center and a couple of other places that were poorly managed, but mostly Guitar Center. So this doesn't really have anything. Fender's going to be fine. Of course, we know that they, I know that they basically cut off production. The problem when they cut off production, though, is then those factories will sell that space to another brand, and it's hard for them to get that back. So hopefully that is being sorted out. We know that they laid off like 300 people. That was due to the fact that they had basically too much inventory. In their inventory to employee ratio was too high, basically, because they had all these orders canceled. So they had to lay off a bunch of people. So, yeah, they went through a rough patch, but they're going to be fine. There's no problem. What's interesting, what I do find interesting about this, though, is that expensive guitars are selling just fine. Anything above $1,500 to $2,000, they're selling as many as they can make, and Gibson is selling as many as they can make. It is the budget guitars that are hurting. So for all the people that want to say the opposite, it's actually not true. The more expensive guitars are the ones that are selling. So that's pretty just pretty interesting stuff that I think that's an interesting thing to talk about. Nah, they just built too many guitars when the demand was at an all-time high. That's actually not true. Um, they had a couple of dealers that were poorly managed and they canceled their orders. And sales are not actually slumping, but Fender had a stack up of inventory because of because of Guitar Center, basically. So it's not, sales aren't slumping. Gibson's selling everything that they could make. They're still over capacity. PRS is still over capacity. You still have to wait months for an American PRS. You still have to, well, I don't want to say wait, but I know that when I try to get some stuff from Gibson, they're not always in stock. Stuff is selling. And Gibson is more or less over capacity at their factory. So, these are really, really cool. Yeah. And I would say that it's poorly managed. So, for example, if I ordered a bunch of, this would be on a smaller scale, but let's say the guy that makes my flat work, right? I thought that I could sell, let's say I needed 1,000 pickups worth of flat work, right? And I called that guy and I said, hey, I need 1,000. I needed 1,000 pieces of flat work. And we had enough business relationship where he would make that without any kind of down payment or anything. Well, then I went and poorly mismanaged my business and no longer could afford to pay for that flat work and called him up and said, hey, I don't need it anymore. Now he's stuck with a bunch of flat work. That's what happened to Fender. It wasn't necessarily that business went down. It was that they had purchases that were canceled because of poor management. So what to do with all the unsold guitars? Well, you sell them. That's all you do. You just sell them. It was a bunch of Squires. It wasn't American stuff. It wasn't Mexican stuff. It was a bunch of Indonesian stuff. It was a bunch of Indonesian Squires. And so therefore they just sell them, and they will sell them, but that is a slower, contrary to popular belief. If you have containers and containers of Squires, it's going to be harder to sell than American guitars, which is pretty interesting. So yeah. My foot fell asleep. Let's see. Followed your lead and bought a Gibson Les Paul body neck from Stratosphere. Do they make enough of the parts to make that profitable? Because I feel like I got a great deal on a Gibson guitar. I don't think it's necessarily profitable. I think it's a fun project. I think it's profitable for me because I can get stuff cheaper than, I can buy bridges and parts. And of course I can make pickups. So, the expensive parts I can get at OEM prices. So, what I pay for a bridge and what most people, when they order from All Parts or somewhere, pay for a bridge are two different things. So for me, it's profitable, but not really. The last time I did it, I had $1,200 in that guitar, and it was a $1,500 guitar to buy brand new. So it wasn't really profitable. When you look at the time into it, and then you look at what I would have got for it if I tried to sell it, I probably would have got $1,200 for it. So it's not profitable. No, those things are not a way to make money as much as they are just to have fun and learn, I think. I feel like the DIY market is going to grow wildly as the new market slows. I 100% disagree on that. Two reasons. One, cheap guitars are DIY market. If cheap guitars aren't selling, the DIY market suffers. I know that 100% because that's what I do. Number two, the market is not slowing. The way some of these stories have been put into the press, it makes it sound like the market is slowing, but guitars are selling. Things are selling. Stuff is selling. People are buying things. It's not slow. It is not slow. The type of guitar is slow, for sure. There are particular guitars that are slow, but not overall. Oh, we got a super chat. Hang on one second. Let me grab this really quick. Super chat from JJ Cat. Thanks, dude. Hi, Dylan. Which neck middle strap pickups of yours would you recommend for quacky funk, really ghost note good? Our classic fives for that. I would do classic fives, and you could get a full set of those. I know a lot of people don't like bridge pickups, and they, mess around with bridge pickups. But if you get a set of our classic five stuff, I think you'll dig it. I think you'll dig it a lot. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, as well. Yeah, the Stratosphere stuff's neat. Of course, they make money off of it because what they do is they part the guitar out and they sell the individual parts for more than what the guitar costs in general. But for on the consumer side, they are taking that profit on disassembling that guitar out of it. And so on the consumer side, you're not going to make much profit for sure. I'm thinking of calling Seymour Duncan Custom Shop for a Seth Lover wound to 9.2. Well, then it wouldn't be a Seth Lover. And potted. Well, it wouldn't be a Seth Lover. Anyone done anything similar? Yeah, we have our smoothie is exactly that. That's exactly what our smoothie is. Yep. Does anybody care about guitar warranties? I don't. But I work on all my stuff, so I don't really care. I guess some people would care if they, JJ Cat, when I said that, I thought, oh, I don't know what gender this person is, and I'm sorry for misrepresenting you. Let's see. Yeah, so I think it's going to be cool. I think everything's going to be fine. I think, maybe it has slowed a little bit. Let's be honest. It probably has slowed a little bit. Well, I know it has, but it's not crashing. I think some of these articles that come out are a little heavy on the drama, I guess. I bet the CFO who contributed to that article, I bet his bonus wasn't as big because he has to figure out what to do with container ships full of guitars that now, are now unsold, and he's got to figure out what to do with them. He had to lay off 300 people. So, I bet his dividend check or his bonus check at the end of the year wasn't so hot. But that's what happens when you mismanage stuff. Honestly, really. Do it right and it won't happen. And there might have been... Your smoothies are A5, Seth Lovers are A2s. Yeah, sure. You could buy A2s if you want. I meant profitable for them, not for me. Oh, okay. So Dan Morris, I think that it is profitable. So let's say you take this $1,400 guitar and you sell the body for $899. You sell the bridge for $100. You sell if you were to go into their shopping cart and build a guitar. Okay. So let's say you were to take that Les Paul, because you can do this. You can take that Les Paul that you bought with just the body, and you can actually take the parts that came out of that guitar and put it all in a shopping cart, and it'll be way more than what a regular guitar costs. I did that. I don't remember what the percentage was, but probably 25%, probably something like that. I bet his bonus was just fine. Never doubt American companies' ability to pay their management exorbitant money while regular employees suffer. Except the thing is, I know people that work there, and I know that wasn't true. I know that uh, very important people, very not just your factory employees suffered. I know a lot of people did at Fender. I have a lot of friends. I know a few people who had very important jobs at Fender who are no longer there as a result of this. So it went all throughout the entire company for sure. I care about warranty. I had a new Fender American Professional Stratocaster that the middle pickup looks like he said maybe means it quit, and they repaired it. Okay, cool. So I guess every once in a while that does happen, huh? Makes sense. Makes sense. I see a lot more people than ever talking about changing pickups and bridges and tuners. Is this the beginning of a DIY trend? No. This has been this is it's not a new thing. I mean Seymour Duncan's been making aftermarket pickups since the late 70s, DiMarzio before him. And there are lots of boutique builders like myself who are making just as good of a living, and I've been doing it for 10 years at least. And it's been fine. Yeah, I think everything's fine. Why do guitar companies like Fender don't do neck through guitars? I think bolt-on just looks bad and cheap. Well, I mean, that is one man's or woman's opinion. I disagree with you. I think they look fine. And they are not cheap. They are just as involved to build. The problem, well, not just as involved to build. Neck through guitars are much more difficult to build because you can only build one at a time per like jig, if you will. Like the tooling makes it a lot slower. So like an Ernie Ball neck through guitar takes a lot longer to build than a Strat does. It takes a lot longer to build than a Les Paul does. Because that whole piece of guitar all has to come together, and it has to more or less tie up a spot in the production longer. So, for example, you can't be doing something on the body while the neck is doing something else because it's all one piece. You know what I mean? So it's a big production situation is the real reason. My PRS Studio 5K has a funky ground wire on the bridge pickup. It makes huge, nasty hum. My PRS Fiore has a bad pot. What do you think of that EVH Relic 2023? I think it's cool. I don't want one because I don't care about... I wouldn't play it live, I guess. I wouldn't take it out and play it a bunch. The EVH one is funny. So, okay, so like when you think about, I have a bunch of signature guitars. I have the Machine Gun Kelly guitar. I have a Slash guitar. I have 4. I have the John Mayer guitar, and I have the Fiore, the Mark Lettieri guitar. I don't mind taking any of those and playing them. I don't mind playing them in videos, anything like that, because those guitars, for some reason, don't set any kind of expectation. I feel this is just literally a personal opinion of mine. But there are certain signature guitars where it's like, if you're playing a guitar that looks exactly like Eddie Van Halen's guitars, for some reason it like sets an expectation for me personally. So I don't play them. Do you have any opinions on throwback pickups? Yeah, I mean, if you want to spend a lot of money on pickups that are not really that special, you're welcome to do so. I think it's neat. I think the concept of making them allegedly very similar to the way they used to be made is cool. But in the end, what benefit is that? You know, my pickups sound great, and our stuff is the opposite direction. We go the opposite. They want to make it exactly like it was back whenever. And my 100% point is, I know I'm 100% right in this, and I know I'm successful at it because my lights are on right now, is that we can make the same stuff. We can make it sound good with modern materials. That's why it says the new vintage on our website. We can give you proper vintage tones with new materials. And I can give you a pickup that costs $140, and there's our 3 times that. So I think it's neat. I mean, I think there's definitely a place for it. It's just like a Fender Custom Shop or a Murphy Lab guitar or anything like that where you really want something to be, I have a rifle that is like exactly sort of, I changed one thing, but exactly the thing that it was back in 1955. Like, I think it's cool to have that, but I also I'm not going to, I don't know. Some stuff's not worth it, in my opinion, just to say that, that you did it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't care how guitars are made. I don't. And I purposely don't. I don't care if it's a bolt-on neck. I don't care if it's a set neck. I don't care if it's a 3-bolt neck. I don't care if it's a string-through body, top loader bridge, neck through. I don't care. If the guitar's cool, it's cool. If it sounds good, it is good. There's no point in comparing this versus that because they're not the same thing. I don't know. I just don't go down that road. I think it's all stupid. I think it's a huge waste of time. If you like the guitar, play the guitar. If you think it's cool, it is cool to you. And that's all you should care. And if you're one of these people who goes in the comments on YouTube or in a forum to see if somebody likes something because you have one already, then you're that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person. I don't do that. I think everything is cool. I love all of it. I think it's all awesome. And I think there's no reason to make a big deal out of any of it. Let things be what they are, because the bottom line is the physics of how an electric guitar works makes most things irrelevant to direct comparison. Let it be a different flavor. Why do you want all your guitars to sound the same anyway? Well, I need to compare this one and that one to see if they sound the same. Why? Like, do you want everything to be the same color? Everything to be beige? Everything to be the same shape? Okay, shape, I get. A lot of people like Strats. A lot of people like Les Pauls. I get it. But it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's just stupid to argue about. Did you see the leaked Fender Ventera 2 series coming out soon? It looks like they will be around 1,000 brand new, but they are bringing rosewood back for necks rather than pale Pharaoh. No, I did not see that. So that's a Mexican guitar, so that'll be cool. That'll be a made in Mexico guitar. I'm 100% sure of that. With a photo relic job. They're not photo, but the way they do it is like directly. They're not different. They're kind of like all the same. Yeah, no, that's cool. I think that Ventera stuff is a good guitar. I would replace a bunch of stuff on them, but I think they're a great thing. I don't care about rosewood. If it's brown, it's brown. I don't really care. The rosewood that they're getting, they probably figured out a place to get it other than where they were getting it from, because all that has changed in the last couple years. So that's the thing. I want all my guitars to be as different from each other as possible. I agree, dude. 100%. 100%. And that's why I think comparing stuff is dumb. It's why we don't do a lot of A/B tests. I mean, we do them because people want to see them, but I hate doing them. It's like, well, how come this sounds exactly the same as that, except and then you're going to listen to an iPhone speaker and tell me you know the difference. No, you don't. Whatever. Anyway. Yeah. Don't get me started. I want all the same shape but different pickup. One numbers. I get that too. Yeah. Single, Strat style guitar, single hum, Strat style guitar, a couple humbuckers maybe. Like, yeah, I get that because you get comfortable, right? Playing something. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I totally get that. Yep. That's the way I am too. Are your humbuckers brass or nickel on the back? What do you think? I'm just messing with you. They're all nickel. Yeah, we don't screw around with brass. And all of our covers are nickel, not brass substrate. So even cheaper humbucker covers are a brass substrate with nickel and chrome on the outside. So here's a little thing. It's kind of interesting. The cover of a humbucker, well, anything, chrome is actually a clear thing that goes over nickel. So usually it's copper, nickel, and then chrome, which is like a clear that goes over it. That's why nickel tarnishes and chrome doesn't. But there's actually chrome underneath the nickel. Or there's actually nickel underneath the chrome. It's just it's a dumb way to explain that, but a lot of people don't know that. Oh, let's see. Yeah, nickel's cool. I mean, obviously, I don't know if it's the way. It's the way I like to do it. There's a lot of good pickups in the world that have brass base plates. There's no law that says one thing is better than the other. What I think people don't understand is that everything in a pickup matters to a percentage of, well, everything in a guitar, but everything in a pickup specifically matters. So to a percentage, the material of the base plate, the hardness of the metal of the pole pieces, the quality of the magnet, the size of the magnet, the dimensions of the magnet, dimensions of the coil, the size of the coil. Let's go backwards. So let's say the things that matter the least to the things that matter the most, and we'll use a humbucker. The thing that matters the least in a humbucker is it would be a toss-up between what kind of wire you use to hook it to your guitar, whether it's like a 4-conductor wire or the braided stuff. That doesn't matter at all. Doesn't have anything to do with the tone. Doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter about noise. Doesn't matter about nothing. It's totally irrelevant. The other thing that's totally irrelevant so there's 3 things that are totally irrelevant. The material of the bobbin. So if it's butyrate or ABS or whatever plastic the bobbin is made out of in a humbucker, totally irrelevant. Has nothing to do with anything. Doesn't affect the tone whatsoever. The other thing that doesn't matter is the material that the spacer. Everybody wants to say maple spacer and blah, blah, stupid. Doesn't even matter. Some of our humbuckers don't even have spacers in them because you don't need them because of the way they're constructed. So, yeah, spacers are stupid. So the spacer, the wire, how it's hooked up, and the material of the bobbin, totally irrelevant. Then after that would be the next thing that would affect it the least would be the base plate material. The base plate material will affect the tone of a pickup. However, it is very easy to design around it to still get. So if you're aiming for a particular tone, right, and you're going to hit it right in the middle, and you use this material base plate or this material base plate, it's real easy to compensate and get the tone you want, even if the material of the base plate is different. Case in point, DiMarzio. DiMarzio uses brass base plates on a lot of their pickups. There's a lot of other companies that do, and they still get really good sounding pickups that you could do A/B tests and blah, 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 and knock yourself out with comparing and being a nerd about it, and everything is just fine. Because they took the time to design to the material that they were using. So it's not that the material is it's not that it is less desirable. It's that you have to understand what it does and then design to it. Nickel, you have to design to it less. It has much less of a, well, basically what it does is it doesn't produce eddy currents in the pickup, which is a whole nother conversation that we could go down a whole rabbit hole about, which is going to come up again in a minute. But that is another thing that could affect the tone. But nickel versus brass is that. So then the next thing that affects it the least would be the cover of the pickup. Now, the cover does affect the tone of the pickup for sure, but not as much as some other things that we're going to get to in a minute. For the same exact reason, the material of the cover affects or can produce eddy currents in the magnetic field, and nickel substrate does that less than brass. So for the same exact reason that the base plate would make a difference, so would the cover. But again, you can design to it so that it doesn't make that much of a difference. You can design, and we've shown this. We've done a bunch of videos on this, and like half the people think they can tell a difference in the sound and half the people say they can't. So it's so minimal that you have to have the right circumstances to be able to hear it depending on the design of the pickup. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't pickups that you can just take the cover off and, oh my God, it sounds totally different. That's because that's the way it was designed. Our stuff, you can pull the pickup on and off and it sounds pretty close. You can tell a little bit, but it's not this huge difference. Why? Because we designed them that way. It's all about how you design the thing. Design to the materials you're going to use. After that, the next thing that would affect it the least, or, like a little bit more, would be the materials that you use for the slugs and screws. Diameters, lengths, and hardness. 1012, 1032 steel, those sorts of things. After that, it would be then the coil wire and bobbin dimensions. And those are the biggest things. The magnet first, then the coil wire and bobbin dimensions. So, yeah. The coil wire, then bobbin. Bobbin dimension is the number one biggest thing. Because you could use the same magnet, you could use the same everything else. You change the bobbin dimension, pickup sounds different. 100%. Coil dimension to me is the number one thing that you have to think about when you design a pickup. So, no, it's kind of fun to think about. It's kind of fun to think about all that stuff. But the reason I bring that up is that base plate stuff, that cover stuff, not to go down, I guess we did go down this whole rabbit hole on this, but those are some of those things that people really, really get bent out of shape about. Going back to like the throwback pickup, for example, because they want it a certain way. And you're like, dude, you're like paying a lot of money for something that don't you want donuts for breakfast instead of this? Like, come on, man. Like, yeah. Interesting stuff though. Of course, I love all of it. Do you make Rickenbacker stuff? Nope. Yeah, pole piece size, pole piece diameter. Yeah, it's a Group B rally car. Because I'm an Audi guy. Let's see. Yep, it's a Group B rally car. How's the tone in the fingers if the fingers are totally outside where the sound vibration is happening behind the fret that is actually affecting? Because your hands are what is imparting the vibration to the string. And this hand, okay, so your fretting hand is setting the pitch, affecting the tension of the string, as well as the length of the string, tension of the string, the accuracy of the pitch of the string, all that stuff. The volume of the string, because you can affect how you mute a string or whatever with your fretting hand. And then the picking hand is imparting the vibration. if you don't have those two things, the thing doesn't make sound. Yep. Do you set your pickups from the same height every time, or do you just go by feel? Yeah, it depends on the guitar. It depends on the fretboard radius. It depends on the depth of the neck pocket, the thickness of the fretboard, the fret size. Because your bigger frets, the strings are going to be at a different spot than with smaller frets. I know that sounds stupid, but it's true. So yeah, you have to adjust them every time, or not adjust them every time, but every guitar is a little different. Yep. Let's see. Everybody's talking about Audis. Yeah, I've been an Audi Volkswagen fan for a very, very long time. I've had literally dozens of them, probably at this point. Yep, I would say. I've had many, 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 and I currently have one. And my next one will probably be an Audi too. I just really, really, really like them. Because I like going fast, but I also like being comfortable. And yeah. Why does a note sound different when taping with a finger than tapping with a finger than tapping with a pick? It's just a tack. It's just a tack. Yeah, because all you're doing is you're catching the string with a hard edge versus a soft edge. Again, it's changing how you impart the vibration to the string. This is something I think everybody should spend a lot more time on, is thinking about how you interact with your instrument. Nerd out more about setup and getting the guitar comfortable and getting the guitar playable and getting the guitar to play cleanly so that every note is very clean and very concise and there's no lost energy anywhere in the guitar. You will, as far as nut buzzes and little rattles and everything like that. So when you impart vibration to the string with a pick or with your fingers, your intention is that what you hear is what you meant to do with your fingers. And we're going to all laugh and say, well, yeah, I can do that. I can't do that because I'm not that good. I agree. Same with me. But the way we get there is the accuracy of that. And if our instrument is not reproducing that vibration or changing that vibration to electricity accurately, then we'll never get what we want. But the most important thing is we need to make sure the vibration is accurate in the first place, which means no nut buzzes, no fret buzzes, proper setup, proper intonation so that we don't have weird harmonics happening that are killing our sustain, stuff like that. No loose parts, no lost energy between the nut and the saddle. No lost energy between the nut and the saddle. That's the most important thing. And then figure out what in your playing, how to play cleanly so to not kill the string and impart the vibration that you mean to play. Everything after that is gravy. How many guitars do you have to own before you get to the point where you stop looking for guitars? I don't know. I'll let you know when I get there. You must worship Leo Fender and not ask why. I don't care about golf. I don't care about golf that much. I watch it. I'll watch it. Like, I watch the Masters because I live in Augusta, Georgia, and this is where the Masters is, so it's kind of cool. That's funny. People say that. People say that about like always looking for guitars. I don't. I go in streaks. I go in. I haven't bought a guitar in a while. Usually I buy one every month. Um, Usually I buy at least one a month, and I haven't bought one in. I think the Silver Sky was the last one I bought, or maybe not. Well, I got the Close after that. I didn't buy that though. They sent that to me. I don't know. I mean, I usually buy about one a month, but that's because of the channel. That's not because of me. My own guitars that I want for myself, I haven't bought one since, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago, I guess. My Telly was the last one. I want a 335 and I want an SG for sure. I think I want kind of all the historical shapes, if that makes sense. But I want really good ones. I'm not going for some kind of Squire thing. I want proper ones. So I bought a proper Les Paul. I bought a proper Telly. Um, I have a proper PRS that I really like because I'm not a huge PRS fan, but I really like the one I have. And so I'm kind of working my way through those guitars more because I want those reference tones. I want those real, real reference tones. When you buy guitars at one in, one out. So I have two different sides to my kind of Jekyll and Hyde to my guitar personality here. The ones that I buy for the channel, usually it's one in and one out. So typically I'll use Patreon money to buy a guitar, and it's usually something less expensive. The SE Silver Sky is an example. It's usually under $1,000, and it's usually something that we'll use on the channel to test something, to do something like that. Those are typically one in and one out. The other side of the collection is my guitars that don't swap out for the channel, if that makes sense. The ones that I buy for myself because I want them forever. My Les Paul, my PRS, my Schecter MGK. I love that guitar. My acoustics. I have more acoustics. I like a lot of acoustic guitars. So the only reason I don't talk about those a whole lot because it's not kind of not what our channel does. So I don't buy as many of those because they're not channel based, if that makes sense. I usually only buy one a year or so acoustic guitar, but those don't swap out. Those I usually keep. So like I bought a new Telly this year. I bought a new Les Paul at the end of last year, but those won't go away. Those will just stay. Yep. Let's see. Do. And I don't use reverb. I don't use reverb, and I don't use eBay at all. I can't tell you the last time. Sometimes I'll jump on reverb to see what things are kind of going for, but since reverb is stupid because what you actually can sell a guitar for and what people think they can get for it on reverb are two different things, because people are delusional about that. So I don't really use reverb that much. It's just not my thing. I need another telly. Don't tell my wife. Maybe what you should do is do something nice for your wife, and then she won't care what you buy. We've got it pretty well sorted around here. She doesn't care what I buy. I buy whatever I want. I'm trying to slow down on the gun thing because I bought more than a few lately. But that's not business related. It's real easy for me to buy guitars because it's business related. Yep. What do you think about Facebook Marketplace? I hate Facebook Marketplace. I rarely go on Facebook anyway. Um, I don't like Facebook Marketplace because it's a bunch of this. Do you still have it available? No reply. Yes, I have it available. No reply. What's your lowest offer? If I was going to sell it for less, I would have put less. I do better with just telling you that I have a guitar available because, see, here's the thing. And this goes back to the way the channel's kind of laid out too. We don't get free stuff. Sometimes we do. There's a few companies that support us, not very often. The last few guitars, except for the Close acoustic, I had to buy. So what we do is we buy guitars with Patreon money. And we don't make a lot of money on Patreon, so it's not like I can buy a new guitar every month with Patreon. So, but it does support it some. So what I do is I do that, and then we'll use it on the channel and stuff, and then I'll tell you about it, and one of you will basically give me what I paid for it. Which doesn't sound fair, but normally we put new pickups in it, we do a bunch of stuff, we upgrade the guitar, we do a bunch of stuff, and it's, we use it in a bunch of videos, and and then it becomes very cool. And then I just ask that you give me what I paid for it. And some would say, who do not support the channel, that's dumb because that guitar is used and it's not worth whatever. But the folks that understand what they're getting, and the folks that are part of the community and do want to support the channel, it's one of the ways to support the channel. Plus, you get some really cool stuff. You get a guitar with new pickups in it and stuff. And so that's one way that we do it. It still costs me. It doesn't break even because I still have to pay tax and I still have to pay shipping to get it to wherever it's going and all that kind of stuff. So it's still a losing proposition, but it's better than nothing. And it's cool to be able to hang out with people on Patreon and be able to, and you all, and, I know a lot of you that have bought my stuff in the past. Plus, it's always good. We're only going to use it for 2 or 3 videos. I don't tour with it or anything. So it's going to be a brand new guitar, only better, because usually we'll polish the frets and we'll do, fix all the little things wrong with it, stuff like that. So the next one that's going to be up for sale is going to be the PRS Silver Sky. I have the purple maple neck PRS Silver Sky. That'll probably be up for sale here pretty quick, so that we can get rid of that one and get another guitar in here. I don't like to keep them for too long. Yeah, and the stuff that you're getting from me is not really used. I mean, it's, it's played I'll tell you what you get from me is played less than the one you buy and hang it in the Guitar Center. It's got less hours on it than that, and you have to pay new price for that. So, plus the strings won't all be rusty and the frets won't all be gross and like the guitar will be set up properly, and if it's got any fret sprout or whatever, all that stuff will be fixed. You know what I mean? Like we do all that stuff because we do it in a video, and then you've got documentation of that guitar, what we did to it, and all that stuff is all there, So it's kind of fun. I like doing it like that. Plus, it's fun to build a relationship with you all and to be able to, like I said, like I know folks all over the place that have the guitars that we've had here on the channel, and they'll check in with me once in a while. Yeah, I still have it. And, oh, actually, my last Silver Sky SE, the green one, a local guy bought it, and I went into the gun range about 2 months ago just to shoot one day, and he was in there. He worked in there. I didn't know he worked in there, and I didn't recognize him. And he's like, "I'm the one that bought your Silver Sky from you." So we talk about that every time. Now I see him all the time going to the gun range, but now that I know he works there. But yeah, he's just really cool to be able to reconnect with that people and stuff. I think it's really neat. I bought a guitar from Dylan, the G Bird, and have been gigging it for 6 months now. I love the thing. Oh yeah, you bought the G-Hole. That's a great guitar. So that's one that I wish I would have kept, but I didn't really have a reason to keep it. I wanted to keep that one. I may buy another one. We'll have to see. No, that's cool, Hat Mike. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're digging that thing. I'm glad you're liking it. I really liked that guitar. People spoke a lot of bad about that guitar, and it was so good. When they first came out, I saw them at Sweetwater, and I thought they were terrible. But then, of course, 2 years later or whatever, ironed out, totally sorted. The stuff was really good. If you'll recall, the first one I got was damaged in shipping. The top, there was a brace cracked. And so I had to send it back and get a new one. But that guitar, the one that you have, Hat Mike, is really, really good. I really liked that guitar a lot. Really enjoyed it. Yep. No, that's cool, man. Well, cool. You guys, this has been fun. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today, chatting about the market, seeing what's going on in the world of guitar stuff. I've got to be somewhere tonight, so we keep these things relatively short on Tuesdays. I appreciate you all, and we will see you. Do you still have your junior that you got at Gibson? I do. It's not hanging up there now. It's right here in a case. I do have it. Both my Gibsons are in the case. I have my Les Paul and my SG Junior. I love them both. Yeah, I love them both. They yeah, cool. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you on Thursday.